Hello friends, my name is Behroz and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I will talk about 5 brutally honest advice that you need to know if you want to grow and expand in your career. These advice, no one will teach you, no one will tell you, but they are super important for you to grow in your career. I've seen many successful people who have reached a certain point or have grown in their career, have at any or some point in time, or rather all point in time, have made use of these advice. And this has worked for me as well. For all the success that I've had in my corporate career, these advice have completely helped me and have me move forward at a very fast pace, more than anyone else, faster than average. Now, before moving into these 5 advice, I have a special ask. In case you find any value from this video, please press the like button. Keeps me motivated, and more importantly, subscribe to the channel, because on this channel I teach or I make content pertaining to how you can succeed in your career. And these 5 advice are super important. By the way, I have separate videos on each one of them where I expand even more, but this is a good summary video which I highly recommend that you watch all the way till the end. Number 1 is selling. You need to learn how to sell. Sell yourself. You need to treat yourself as a brand. I was in finance and I would work with brand management, and I realized that brand people were far much better in selling themselves. And I connected with one of those individuals who was also a mentor, and he said that I treat myself also as a brand. The equity I produce in terms of what I want people to know about me. This is my equity. This is what I stand for. I repeatedly tell them about this. So for instance, I remember there was this guy in my company. Every time he would introduce himself, would go like, I have a strategy background. I have interest in strategy. I love strategy. I come from a strategy school. He would use the word strategy a lot in his introduction, or I have experience in developing strategy and all. And there was once I asked a colleague, someone else, I was like, can you tell me what this person stands for? And he went like, oh, it's very clear. He stands for strategy. And I'm like, have you seen his strategy work? He said, no. And like, how do you know he stands for strategy? And then he started to think, and that was just because he was introducing himself constantly as a guy who does strategy. Now, the guy was good as well, and yes, he did work on strategy, but the idea is, apart from your work, you also need to sell yourself. So sell yourself with regards to what you want to be known for. Is it strategy? Is it communication? Is it managing people? Whatever it is, think it through and go like, okay, this is the area where I want to sell myself. And the areas that you can pick is based on where the company is headed, what is important to the company. So in my company back then, what was important is developing strategy, writing strategy, calling out strategy. For that matter, it is important in most of the companies and across any time period. And hence he figured it out. He was like, I need to be the strategy guy. And he started to introduce himself as a strategy guy. And that was the equity he built for himself. Second thing is that you need to do is, when you are in your performance reviews, when you are talking to your manager about your performance, again, talk about your performance as if you are talking about a particular brand, selling a brand to your manager, selling a brand to the company. So for instance, the way you would prepare for a certain project, you also need to prepare for your performance reviews, for your result reviews as well. I know we spend a lot of time on our work, on our projects, on our tasks, but we don't spend a lot of time or enough time when we are producing our yearly reviews. So when we have to sit down and think about all the good stuff that we have done, we have to sell ourselves, we don't spend enough time on that. So I want you to focus on that part as well, which is, yes, work is important. I spend 80, maybe 90% of your time working and doing the task, but spend at least 10 to 20% of the time that you have on selling yourself as a brand, selling yourself as a person, as a commodity that needs to grow and that needs to develop in the company. And here, for instance, what you want to do is, before going in any performance review, prepare that, okay, I'm a brand. How do I sell myself? How do I sell the things that I've done in this year, my performance, to my manager? What are the things I have to say? What are the things that I need to avoid saying, and so on and so forth? So think of yourself as a project, just like how you would convince the management about, hey, we should invest here, we should not invest here. Similarly, think of yourself as a brand, as that commodity as well, which you want to sell. So learn how to sell. I figured it out very late in my career because I was more in finance. Finance people are good with numbers, but not good with selling. Selling is the core skill that you need. Now, one important call out, in case you want a one-to-one live session, live connect with me for career coaching, well, you can do so by booking time in my calendar using the link in the description of this video. I highly recommend booking that link and connecting with me in case you are looking for a career coach. The second key career advice is that you need to get promoted every 3 years. And let me expand on this. The first year you are learning. in any assignment. The second year, you are contributing back. The third year, you should be looking for an exit because the learning has been done, the contribution has been done. Now you should be looking for the reward. So the third year is for the reward. Either the reward is coming through a different assignment or it should be coming through more income. So different assignment could be another learning leg. So for instance, you were in marketing for 3 years, you're done, and now you moved into sales. Or you were in, let's talk about finance. I was doing cash management and now I'm doing treasury maybe, or I'm doing financial planning and analysis. So either I'm learning or I'm moving up, making more money. So either you should be moving up, making more money, or you should be learning. If none of these things are happening after 3 years, you need to exit that scenario you are stuck in. It could be your department, it could be your function, it could be the company altogether. By the way, people who change companies every 4 to 5 years make far more money than people who are stuck out of loyalty in the same company. And again, I'm not saying you have to change the company, but you have to even maybe move across companies. So either you're learning or you're moving up or making more money. And at some point in time, you should not just leave everything to learning. It's not like you just say, okay, today I'll be a manager for marketing, manager for sale, manager for finance. In that case, you'll remain a manager forever and would have learned a lot of things, but would never be able to cash out. So yeah, maybe at one point in time, you go like, after 3 years, I learned, then after 3 years, I go up. 3 years learn, 3 years go up. But that way, your trajectory should be higher and faster just because your learning curve is much more than an average individual in the company because you have more breadth of experience. So again, you need to move up, you need to earn more. If not, then you need to change your projects, you need to change your function, you need to change your company altogether. Third brutally honest advice is that while your hard skills and even some of the soft skills are important, the core, the most important skill is communication. If you cannot take what you're doing, what you're working on and communicate it in a very simple, concise way to upper management, well, there will be no one to listen to you. Eventually what will happen is you will be doing the great work, you will be passing on that great work to someone else, and they will be communicating it to the higher management. And if you are not the one who's communicating, you're not in the limelight. If you're not in the limelight, well, guess what? You won't get promoted. So for you to get promoted, you want to go up, you need to learn how to communicate well. These people who are sitting at the top, do you think they know everything about finance, marketing, sales, engineering? No, they don't. All they know is how to ask the right questions, which is communication, how to understand or listen, which is communication, and more importantly, how to communicate the problem further forward or to other people. I remember once there was this finance leader who came to my company and he said the success of the finance leader, and I think this applies to everyone, not just finance, is taking a complex problem and explaining it in a very concise, simple way, in a way that you can sit in front of your grandma and you can explain to your grandma. Such should be your power of communication. If you have that much command on communication, well, my friend, you will be succeeding in the company. So learn how to communicate. And the best way to do it is sit in those big meetings where these big executives are talking and see how they communicate and learn from them what they say, how long are their sentences, how concise are they, what are the things they talk about, what are the things they don't talk about, the way they ask questions, the way they listen, and all. Observe. And from that observation, you will learn. You won't learn any of this from your college, from any textbook. You will only learn this from observation. And how I learned it was because my manager would take me to big meetings, would make me just sit in the corner. Even if I had no contribution, or let's say little contribution in that meeting, I would just sit in the meeting in the corner and would observe. And this is how I learned how to communicate better and communicate well. Number 4, brutally honest advice. And one of the most important ones is that your manager is everything. He or she is the one who will decide your salary, your promotion, your career, your projects, your task, and everything. So never pick a fight with your manager. Unless it's really disaster, like the manager is so bad that it's do or die for you. Yeah, go ahead and pick a fight with that person and go report to the HR. Otherwise, if there are few things here and there, do not complain about your manager. Rather, even if there are few things that you don't like about your manager, always praise your manager like anything. And I'm not saying praising the manager on his face. No, I'm saying whenever you're connecting with other people in other departments, always speak highly for your manager, because this always comes back. And you will see, if you talk good about your manager will know about it and will feel good about you, knowing that you are a person who values the manager itself, values the work of the manager, and hence things will become very easy for you with regards to your income, with regards to your promotions, with regards to your tasks and projects and all. Your manager is key. You need to know how to manage your manager. By the way, I've made a separate video on how to manage your manager, and I highly recommend you check out that video. It will be life-changing for you. Now, the last advice is working smart versus working hard. When you start your career, when you start a new role, maybe for the first 6 months, you need to really work hard. What I mean is, whatever comes your way, you try to work it, you try to solve those problems, all of them. Whatever problem you see, you pick up a problem, you solve for it, and you work day and night, you work more than 9 to 5 because you're in the learning phase. This happens more so when you are starting your career and less so when you're changing assignments later on in the year. Once you grow and as you start growing, you need to become more and more smarter, which is you need to be very choiceful on things you have to work, things you need to work on, and things you will not work on altogether. You will not be solving all the problems. So what you need to realize is the problems which have the biggest impact, the problem that your manager wants to solve, the senior management wants to solve, those are the problems you want to work on, not the ones which you think are good, which you like to work on, which are fascinating or motivating for you. No, they won't take you anywhere. You rather work on one project or two projects a year, but the ones which will really make a difference. Everyone is asking for it, everyone is looking for it, everyone has a stake in it, versus working on 10 projects, but they are not the most important projects. You can say, oh, I can work on 12 projects, 2 the most important ones and the 10 others. Well, those 10 others won't make a dent at all. Rather, if anything, they will take resources, your time, your energy from these 2 key projects, which are far more important. Hopefully, after watching this video, you will be much better placed in terms of how you should be working across different advice or different suggestions that I gave you and be able to succeed in your career. Now, one important call out, in case you want a one-to-one live session, live connect with me for career coaching, well, you can do so by booking time in my calendar using the link in the description of this video. I highly recommend booking that link and connecting with me in case you are looking for a career coach. Thank you.